What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crappers Live. I'm David Wilson, and we're back again with another Friday stream where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic I've come up with for the week. And this week is no exception. And one other thing that is no exception is me being late by about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. I don't know. How long is it? Yes. Sorry about that. You know, last minute childcare duties and things of that nature tend to, delay things a little bit, but that's okay because we're all just trying to be here on time on Friday. And the good news is that most of you are here on time. I'm just the one that's late. That's okay. Maybe you can give me a break, huh? I think I say that every stream. Give me a break. Yes, wow, that is very specific, left pad, that I was 6 minutes, 38 seconds, 124 milliseconds, and 993 microseconds, and 123 nanoseconds. Why does it have to be so specific? Okay, it's not like we're looking at anything except for really the minutes, right? I guess we just leave it at the left pad to be too specific. All right, let's say hello to the people who are here so far. I see Glenn, Cow, Mountain Man, Peter, Gun, Arnaud, Bade. Let's see. Dave. Hey, Dave. Obviously, the left pad and S copy are here, which means Ashraz is around somewhere. I see Ashraz over on the YouTube side, as well as Minas Mazar, Darth Vader, Mark Rohrer, sorry, M, Andrew, and Pavel. Nice to see you all. All right. Hello to Technomag as well in the IRC chat. I think that's Technomag. Yes, Erky. All right. So, today I'm going to do a little lazy stream. Not really lazy because there's value in what I'm doing here, but I just really wasn't sure what to do today. So, what I figured we're going to do is try to catch up on what's been going on in the world of Emacs because I've been a little bit too deep into Guile scheme land and working on web applications lately that I haven't really been thinking about Emacs too much. So I figured it might be fun to go through the latest news about Emacs development. Not really necessarily things that are happening right now, but things that maybe we missed over time, or maybe some good blog posts that have some good little tips that we can take a look at. Things of that nature. So that's what we'll do in a little bit after we do our obligatory 40 minutes of blathering. Gun says, V's of G's in the sky, springs around. I haven't seen those yet. It's actually extremely cold here still, so I don't really feel like we're getting closer to spring. I did last week. Last week it was quite nice in Athens, but this week, it's too cold. I'm going to continue complaining about the cold because I moved to a country that's not supposed to be that cold, and it's pretty cold right now. So you're going to hear me complain about it still. That's okay. I mean, it'll be over with soon, I think, so long as it doesn't snow. And I probably shouldn't say that because I don't want to will that into existence. But so long as it doesn't do that, I think I'll make it just fine through the rest of the winter to the spring. Ericy says, yeah, I don't get how WeChat chooses my names. Sometimes I get Techno, the default username. Sometimes Ericy asking fallback. Haven't cared to figure it out. Yep. Sometimes that's what happens. But maybe, I don't know if you've got a registered account on NickServe on LibreChat, but that could help to recover your name in case you are trying to log in and it's already taken somehow. Peter says YouTube is about 30 seconds behind what I hear. What does that mean? Like the video is 30 seconds behind? Or 30 seconds behind Twitch? Because Twitch always is more real time, let's say. That's just what it is. YouTube is a bit less live. I think I might be able to change a setting to make that better, but then it reduces the quality of the stream. So I haven't really tried it yet. I could try it in the future if people were interested in being 30 seconds behind Twitch. Makes sense. All right. So what else is going on right now? We're making good progress on our project for the Crafter Hour streams. So if you don't know about it, I've been doing streams on Mondays and Wednesdays on the channel. Let's see. Right here. The development log is on systemcrafters.net. Gold AN says, hello, David. Finally an Emacs-related stream. Yes, I know. I decided to do one because I haven't done one in a while. But yes, I've been doing streams twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays to work on building a web application in Guile Scheme from scratch. And we've been having quite a lot of progress. This week, we managed to, build a database migration framework, kind of a basic database migration framework, really nothing that special, but it gets the job done. It seems to work. And then we also put together a Geek system configuration, which isn't fully ready yet, but it does enough to package up the application, host it in the Shepherd service, and then set up an Nginx reverse proxy in front of it so that Nginx is the sort of the front end to the internet once we finally get the server deployed, so that the poor little Guile Scheme server doesn't have to get hit by every single request that comes through, especially for things like static files and things of that nature. So I've been having a lot of fun there. And I think this week we will end up deploying the site, or at least a staging version of the site, because it's not really like fully ready for public consumption yet. The idea behind the site is that we're making an index of all available Emacs packages across all of the Emacs package repositories like GNU ELPA, non-GNU ELPA, MELPA, etc. And also other locations potentially like Geeks and Plain Git repositories. So we're trying to just have like a place where you can go and find out information about all of the available Emacs packages in the community, and also post tips of your own about these packages, and share your configuration for those packages. So those are things that we're planning to do. Not all of those things are in yet, but we have made quite a lot of progress toward that. So next week we might have a staging deployment of that out so people can try it out on their own and see an actual website written in Guile Scheme hosted with Geeks in the real world. So it's pretty cool. I'm having a lot of fun. I've been kind of obsessed with the idea of writing Guile Scheme web applications with this Datastar library that I've been working with lately. I've been working on another project this week. People keep asking me, what's David doing all day long? Well, I'm kind of like writing code, experimenting with different ideas. I'm trying to put together a video on Datastar and how it relates to Guile Scheme, or Lisps in general. And I'm a little bit, let's just say I'm trying to work out some patterns that I think will be pretty interesting, but they're not quite fully baked yet. So once that gets done, then I can make a video and show some of the stuff that I'm working on. Hey, Big Edie. Big Edie says, still planning on making videos out of the live streams. I don't know. Like, some of them have not done so well in terms of views. I think it's the topics that I'm picking. So I'm kind of like still thinking about what I'm going to do about that. The Datastar video that I record probably will be recorded during a stream. But yeah, I haven't really had a good short topic in a while for making a YouTube short. So I haven't done that either. So yeah, it's been kind of slow on the video production front, but I have been doing a lot on the streams. So that part's been fun at least. But we need to get back to making some videos. I'm actually thinking about making some Geeks videos soon too, because recently, surprisingly enough, the sort of most responded to videos I've had have been Geeks videos. So maybe I'll get back to that pretty soon. I still need to follow up on the Geeks Home video where I talked about, the next video being about writing your own Geeks Home services. And that one's going to be pretty useful, I think, for anybody trying to migrate over to Geeks Home. So probably that would be the next one I would do. That is a typical System Crafters video and not like a programming video like I've been doing. Like I did the video on fibers, and I did a video on match expressions, Neither of those did very well. I don't really know. Maybe it's just an issue of the algorithm, not really knowing that I'm talking about programming now and things like that. So it's not pushing the videos out to people as much. But who knows? I just have to kind of go where the wind blows on that. And why, you may ask? Why not just make whatever I want? Well, I kind of need to focus a little bit on things that people want to see, in addition to the things that I want to do, because I'm already making a lot of stream recordings through all the Crafter Hour streams, which is kind of a little bit self-indulgent for me because I'm having fun working on the project. I'm guessing people are having fun watching it too, but I need to make some like quote-unquote real videos at some point soon. All right. Cal says, IRC is like Hotel California. Why is that? Because you can't leave? What does that mean? I see people leaving the IRC channel all the time. Usually after I make a bad joke. Just kidding. All right, so anyway, if you want to check out the code for the emaxpackages.com project, you can go to codeberg.org/systemcrafters/emaxpackages.com and check out all the stuff we've been working on there. It's been pretty fun. I've been having a lot of fun working on this, and I'm looking forward to having this up on an actual server somewhere in the world and continuing to improve it after that. Because we worked on this database migration framework so that we can add or make changes to the database as time goes on. So now we have the framework in place for deploying it for the first time and then making safe changes as we move forward. So I'm excited about that. Fade says, what is the YouTube link for the Crafter Hours VODs? If you go to the actual Crafter Hours devlog page, I have linked to all of the stream recordings for each one of these. So you can go check out every date we've been working on things, see what we did, check out the stream recording for the session and the commit that I committed after the session, so you can see the state of the code after the end of the stream. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing to do. So what we did. Mountain Man says, why no get.systemcrafters.net? I do want to set one up. Just not sure how I want to do it yet. I would like to have an official sort of GitForge for System Crafters instead of using Codeberg, but it is sort of a maintenance thing. Like you have to be able to keep the website up, especially if you're getting DDoS or something weird like that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. I have at many different instances wanted to do that, but I haven't done it yet. Forgeo is good, Peter. It's great. I would use that. I mean, I'm also kind of tempted to use Cgit because Cgit's kind of cool, but it's very basic. So using Forgeo would be the obvious solution. Morgan says, maybe take some suggestions of things to configure in Geeks or Geeks Home. In Geeks Home, clone a repo for me, then try to work through the simpler problems. It might work as separate videos too. Yeah, maybe we should do that at some point. Like, people can ask for things they want to see or things they might have tried or that they want to try, and we can try to write some stuff for them in a stream and then make a video out of some of that. I'm certainly willing to do it. Hello to Max and to Drew Verley. Drew says, I would appreciate more Geeks content. Yeah, we really need to do that. Mountain Man says, I personally use Cgit and just put email me a patch in the contributing.md. That would require me to actually check my email, which I am horrible about not doing. So yeah. All right. What's next? Cool. Anything else interesting that's been going on lately? Anything else, Dave? Dave, anything interesting happening in Sprightly Space that I've missed? Because I have been bad about not checking Fediverse reliably. Let's just see if Sprightly's got any news that I haven't seen yet. Still Goblins, okay. Geeks blog. I think there's been some more updates on the Geeks blog about the survey results. Yeah, there's 3 parts of the survey results. That was all posted at the end of January. Shows how much I'm paying attention. We're not going to look at that right now, but that's it for what's been going on with Geeks. Peter says Cgit is great if there's like the email pull request flow. Yeah. Sentinel says Emacs is on F-Droid. Yeah, it's been on F-Droid for a while. I think they've been making improvements to it. I haven't looked at any of the recent improvements yet, but I think they're trying to make it a little bit easier to use on Android, which is good. Dave says, I'm on my phone, but no big public news for Sprightly. Okay, thanks. Nothing happening just yet, but I'm sure there's a lot more things coming soon. All right. So today, like what I said, is that we're going to just kind of run through both some blog posts I haven't looked at yet and the latest stuff in Sasha Chua's Emacs news, and see if there's just anything interesting going on out there that we should know about, like new packages, new developments in Emacs that might be useful for us, because I haven't really been paying attention, so it's a good opportunity for all of us to kind of get caught up to date. Fade says, using Emacs on a phone, probably not a great experience. Actually, Emacs in Termux, in terminal mode, is not that bad, especially if you use Devil. Devil is a package for Emacs by Susam, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. But this is another thing kind of like God mode, but you use the comma as a prefix key to type in Emacs key bindings. And it actually works quite well for me. I'm using this on my phone. So I use my normal Emacs config, but I add Devil to make it easier to hit the Emacs key bindings on the phone keyboard. And it's been working well enough. I don't use it a lot. I mainly use it at the grocery store. It's kind of stupid. I use Emacs on my phone to keep my grocery list. There's probably a million apps in the App Store that would be much better for this, but of course I'm going to use Emacs in the terminal on my phone with a weird key binding setup, just so I can keep my grocery list in org mode and walk through the grocery store hitting Control K to delete all the items that I had written in there. So that sounds right. Sounds like me, right? Fade says, do you turn off this mode when you're in org mode? No way. You need it. If you press comma twice, it inserts a comma. So that's how you get around the fact that comma is now a prefix key. Just press comma, comma, like a comma chameleon. And you will get a comma inserted into the buffer. Dolce says, the things we do for love. Exactly. It's also the things that I do to annoy my wife, because I love to bring up the fact that I'm managing our grocery list in Emacs on my phone so that she will groan because I'm being a real dork. So that's just, one of the little fun things. It adds a little bit of spice to life, just annoying your wife with your strange software choices. Let's see, what did I miss here? Peter says, stream video to a display, hook up a keyboard, or just use a Bluetooth keyboard. That works too. Use a Bluetooth keyboard with your phone, and you can do normal Emacs stuff. Gun says, in evil mode, of course, insert blah, blah, blah escape. Yeah, not going to use evil mode there. I mean, it did actually make navigation a little bit easier when I did use evil mode, using Emacs and Termux, but not using evil mode anymore, as many people know. If you didn't know that, I'm not using evil mode anymore. Probably haven't been for a year now. M says, what app do you use for the grocery list on your phone? So, if you don't know about Termux, Termux is basically a Linux environment on your phone. So you install Termux, and then it drops you into a terminal, and you can use their built-in package manager to install programs like Emacs. And then you can pull your Emacs configuration down with Git from your .files repo, set it up, and then use Emacs in the terminal on your phone directly. So, yes, and I'm using org mode natively in that. Gold Ian says, I use Unexpected Keyboard, which comes with Control, Alt, and some other stuff. The problem with keyboards like Unexpected Keyboard is that you lose some of the things that you're used to with normal keyboards. I was about to say word completions, but I don't get that either in Termux. Like if I were to go in my phone, which you can't see right now, and just start typing something, yeah, it doesn't give me word completion because it doesn't understand the interface. But Peter says, is Termux like iShell on iOS? Yeah, I don't know. It probably is. I haven't used an iPhone ever. Hey, Florian. I haven't used an iPhone ever, so I don't know what apps are available on iPhone. Fade says vanilla is the way. I mean, as close to vanilla as possible, I guess. All right, so Termux is pretty cool. You should try it out. But then there also is the official Emacs package on F-Droid, This is literally a build of Emacs for Android that's coming out of the Emacs source tree, if you can believe it. All right. But yes, there is an Emacs build for Android. It's not fully baked yet. It works, but it's not really aware enough that it's running on a phone to make it be a better, smoother experience for you to use Emacs on a phone. That's why it's almost better to use it in the terminal as of right now. Gun says, is it installable on card nowadays? You always had to use device memory. I don't know. I haven't tried it. Fade says, how do you get your config on the phone? With this one, with the actual Emacs Android app. So, number of ways. You can use Syncthing. You can use a Git client of some sort. There is a packaging, Emacs for Android SourceForge. Android port for GNU Emacs. I believe it's this one. Yeah, this is a custom build of Emacs for wait, what? Maybe I think this is the right one, isn't it? So there's a custom build of Emacs plus Termux from, I think, this project, which gives you graphical Emacs in all the Git tools from inside of Termux, kind of all set up correctly together, so that it's a bit easier of an experience. You can have like VC mode and Magit and whatnot, I think, inside of Emacs, graphical Emacs. Hey, Alejandro. And Bamalia Anima. I think that's what it says. I'm not sure. Termax. Dolce says, have you used Cymex for Lisp editing? No, I have not. I've heard of it, but I haven't used it. I've actually gotten quite comfortable using the built-in S-expression key bindings in Emacs. I'm gradually picking up more and more of them, and it has been good enough. Now, I've received an email recently. I can't remember who it's from. I haven't responded to it yet. I really should do that. Trying to encourage me to use ParEdit again. Which is a great package, but I'm still trying to use as much of the built-in Emacs functionality as possible. So if you don't know, let's see. Do I have any scheme files open? No. Let's see. EmacsPackages.com. Find a file. Package.sem. There are key bindings in Lisp modes. Like, let's say if I go right at the beginning of this expression and do Control-Alt-Space, it selects like the entire S expression, or Control-Alt-F to go forward by one full S expression, or Control-Alt-D to go like down into an expression and then use forward and back. So you can kind of bounce around S expressions fairly easily and then select them to do things with them. There's probably other sort of like, convolution or things of that nature, actions you can do with the built-in bindings, but I haven't really used them yet. So anyway, like, I don't really need other stuff at this point. I'm sure ParEdit is great. I'm sure that some of these other Lisp editing, structural editing tools are great. I just haven't really gotten back to try to use those yet. Fade says those binds all work in ParEdit also. That's good to know. I'm glad to know that they do work the same. Big Edie says, have you done anything to replicate or partially replicate the functionality of marginalia in your vanilla config? I thought about it, but I think it gets a little bit messy trying to inject things into the display of the completion system. There's like some hooks that you have to set up. I'm no expert. I literally have not looked at this more than for like a few minutes. But it seems a little bit like I would have to write more code than I would feel comfortable putting in my own config. So for something like marginalia, which I don't think I have it in my config right now. Let me actually go check. I don't have the latest stuff here, but dot files, Emacs. Yeah, I don't have marginalia in here yet. I would probably put that in, but I haven't done it yet. There's other things that I'm thinking about putting in that are external packages, but only not in the main config, the init.el, but in these sort of extension libraries. Big Edie says, do you miss it or you find you don't need it anymore? Pretty much everything that I got rid of, I haven't really missed. Like, I haven't missed Vertigo that much. I haven't missed Consult that much. I haven't missed Magit that much, except for rebasing, which I haven't done a whole lot recently, so it hasn't been a problem. What else? Yeah, I haven't missed Marginalia that much. I haven't really missed Embark that much. Fade says madness. Embark, do I use Embark at all? Yeah, I haven't been using Embark either. A lot of the stuff that I was doing with those packages, I've found alternatives built in, and it's been fine. So, yeah. Anything else? One thing I had to install this week, just to improve my experience running things in MetaX Compile, is Xterm Colors, which I still haven't set up correctly. Xterm Color. And what this does is provide some hooks to make it so that you get correct ANSI color code rendering in MetaX Compile or eShell. Kind of important. But I didn't set it up right just yet. I just tried to set it up the other day and kind of left it in a half-working state. I think it was working in MetaX Compile, but it didn't work correctly in eShell. So that's one thing I've added back. Ashra says, is that the comment hook thing? Yeah, it hooks into comment for some buffers if you set it up. I don't really use shell mode that much. Maybe I should. But you have to hook it into eShell. And the way that they explain to do this, I think it doesn't work exactly right because it didn't work for me. Unless I missed something else up in my config somewhere. And the setup for compilation buffers is pretty easy. So that I set up and it seems to work. But that's one thing I did miss because it doesn't work very well by default in Emacs. But everything else, I mean, like, haven't had a whole lot of FOMO, I guess. Also, after moving back to graphical Emacs, experience has been slightly better, I think. Like, I'm happy that I moved back to graphical Emacs as a primary interface, but you really can't tell because I haven't changed any of, like, I haven't started using variable pitch mode again or changing headings and stuff. So it looks basically the same as terminal Emacs, just a little bit less funky, let's say. Speedo says, doesn't ANSI color do the same and it's built in? Does it? Where is this? And how old is this? 1999. Compile. Compilation filter start. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I'll have to look at that. Max says, thanks for the stream on JJ. Kind of get it and started using it as a Git replacement. I actually started using it too. On the projects I've been working on locally, or off stream, let's say, to try to make a demo app for Datastar to make a video from it. I've been using Jujitsu, JJ, and it's been interesting. I'm kind of starting to get it. I'm kind of starting to get it a little bit. I also read a couple other articles and some of the ideas started to fit into my brain a little bit better. So yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it. I haven't really done a lot with it yet though, but it's kind of cool. Nakatani says, we can tell, believe you mean we can tell. What that I'm using graphical Emacs? Which part? Fayed says, I didn't understand the problem that Jujitsu solves. It's just a different workflow for working with repositories. But one thing that's kind of interesting about it is just the fact that you don't have to worry about committing your changes because it sort of automatically commits them all the time. And then from that standpoint, your workflow kind of changes a little bit. And there's some interesting ideas of how to manage your code. Left pad says, press Control G, Control G, Control G. We'll see whether it's graphically Emacs. I'm spamming it. Look at it. It's not crashing. It's not going away. See, that is worth using graphical Emacs 100% because that was driving me nuts. Yes, that you're using graphical Emacs. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of cues, but for the most part, you can't really tell. Fade says, incremental commits that you don't have to manually squash to push is nice. Yeah, I haven't really seen yet that... I haven't tried pushing the incremental commits to Git yet. Cal says, I can see you jittering. What do you mean jittering? I've had way too much caffeine today. Fade says the fonts in your graphical Emacs are better. They're the same. Because, Foot was also rendering them just fine. I think. I literally haven't changed anything. Oh, you can see me jittering. Yeah, because my whole desk is shaking and the camera stand is attached to the desk. That's why. Jeff says, JJ, meh. Oh, really? There's a JJ episode with Scott Shakon, who knows a lot about Git. That would be pretty interesting to see. Anyway, people are going to be really upset in the comments that I didn't start talking about Emacs stuff until later. Okay, how do I want to transition this conversation? So yes, I have been doing fine getting rid of a lot of stuff, like a lot of community packages from Emacs. How many months has it been now? It's been 4 or 5 months at least. Yeah, probably 5 months, maybe 6 months since I started doing this. And I've been perfectly happy with it since then. There's like 2 or 3 things that I need to work on improving in my config. But they haven't bothered me enough to like actually make me do it yet. So I don't know. I've been getting by just fine. I mean, people see me working in the streams twice a week. Like I'm getting around. I'm doing stuff. I'm using VC mode to make commits. There's no problem. All right, let me see what I'm missing out on. Alejandro says the Emacs port for Android and F-Droid works great. But it's almost unusable without a keyboard. Yes, that's the thing. Is like the graphical one. Somehow the keyboard issue is more pronounced. Big Edie says, I need you to move back to Evil, though, so I feel better about my life choices. Look, everybody should use what works best for them. I don't need Evil mode anymore because I finally managed to break myself of the habit. So I'm not going back. I'm okay with the current situation not using Evil mode. I've gotten used to the vanilla Emacs key bindings. My fingers are not dying. My fingers are fine, actually. I don't really have a problem. Oshra says Kua mode 1. No, I'm not going to do that because it's going to wreck other things that I need. I mean, we need the Control-C prefix. It's pretty damn common, so I don't really want to give that up just to turn on Kua mode. Thank you, Cal. Making the most of Terminal Emacs streamed live on October 18th. So that's November, December, January, February. Oh, okay, 4 months. Maybe I started doing it before then, though. I can't remember. Control-C works without a region. Ah, okay. That's cool. That's not bad. I can live with that. I can't believe it says, have you heard anything about what's going on with the Mac port maintained by Mitsuharu Yamamoto? Seems to be stuck at 29.1. Which port is that? Gun says, did you remap your keyboard? Yeah, well, I always change caps lock to be control. That's the only modification that I make. Savage Banana Soup says, just you wait, in 5 years your hand muscles will be like pretzels. Because I'll be twisted or because I'll be like completely like swole? Like I'm gonna look like a bodybuilder with my hands. Come on now. I swear, it's fine, okay? I got no problem. No problem. Do you use a different keyboard to give Pinky a break? No, I'm using this completely silly ThinkPad compact keyboard. I don't want to show it too much because I don't want to see it, you just see how disgusting it is. But no, this is a pretty crappy keyboard by all standards. But the reason why I use it is because it has the nub. What do I use for caps lock? Who uses caps lock? Does anybody actually use caps lock? Not in anger, because literally you have to be angry to be using caps all the time to need caps lock. So no, I don't need caps lock at all. I think I remapped it to I used to remap it to something else, but I'd never used it. Yeah, what is caps lock? Nah, just like the stream indicates, I have not been paying attention to Emacs land for a while. Dolce says caps lock shouldn't exist. I kind of agree with that. It seems outdated, but maybe some people have a reason. Fade says people do use it though. When I remapped my wife's keyboard so the caps lock is control, she became super annoyed. Wow. Gold Ann says, I use caps as control, but when I use work PC, it's a nightmare. Well, I mean, if your work PC is Windows, you can put a registry key entry in there and do the remapping there too, because that's what I do on Windows. If you can't do that, then yeah, that's a major headache. Jonathan Pieper says, caps lock is a third mode in Neo layout. Very important. Interesting. Eric says, smart caps with custom keyboard firmware are enabled only for one word after a key combo. That's the best way to do invars equals value, etc. Yeah, that's fine. I could see that. I mean, things like words you have to type as uppercase kind of makes sense in a terminal, but I just hold shift. It's fine. Hey, Antonio. Antonio says, as sometimes I asked about Emacs PGTK scrolling slowness on Wayland plus 4K monitor, I've discovered why it happens when you apply fractional scale. Without it, it works okay. You know, I've noticed that too. When I scroll around in Emacs, CPU usage goes nuts, especially in a larger file. Like right now, I just tried to scroll with the mouse wheel, and it completely hoses the machine for a second. But I'm not using fractional scaling, I don't think, because if I go to my sway config, I have it set to scale 2. So what's the deal? Why so slow? All right, it's been 43 minutes now. Sunset Enjoyer says, I wish it was easier to get alternative keyboards where I live. I really don't want to depend on an alternative keyboard. I'd just rather use something that is more normal so that I don't get used to some weird keyboard layout, etc., etc. Sentinel says, you could try a home row mod instead of just rebinding caps lock to control. Nah. I mean, I really appreciate having things on the home row. My previous key binding setup with Evo Mode used to be very home row centric, but I stopped doing that. Herman Tom says, Thomas says your refresh rate is fractional. It could be that, maybe. You think that's it? Trev says, does this guy even like computers? I like software, all right? Software is what I'm focused on mainly. The interface to the software, I don't really care so much about so long as it works. And it's fast. Other than that, I could use a crappy Dell keyboard. Well, okay, I'm not going to go that far because the shape of those can be ridiculous. But, yeah. I'm pretty happy with this cheap ThinkPad looking keyboard that I have. Escape and control pedals, we're going too far with that. Okay, maybe if I'm driving in a racing game. All right. So, back to the point. Today we're going to talk about, if I can find my notes, the latest news in Emacs, or at least news that we haven't seen yet. First, most importantly, okay? And someone should write down the timestamp in the comments because people are going to be pissed at me for not starting to talk about the actual point of the topic until much later. So whatever the timestamp is, just leave a comment. Control on eye blinking. Yeah, that would probably not work out too well for me. So big news. Emacs 30.1 RC1 is available. That means that Emacs 30 is getting pretty close to having a stable release. This just came out 2 days ago. First release candidate for Emacs 30.1 is now available at this location. I don't know if there are pre-built binaries anywhere, but this is very exciting because it means that we will have stable Emacs 30 release soon. And then that should filter down to various Emacs distributions like the Windows build or the Mac OS builds, the Android build, and also the various Linux distributions or other, Nixes, not Nix OS, but like, FreeBSD, things of that nature. Eventually we will all get, Emacs 30. And I think there's a lot of really cool stuff in Emacs 30. We've already done a stream at some point on what's been going on in Emacs 30. Maybe we'll do another one again once Emacs 30 gets finally released and we get to look at the full news file. But it's good to know that Emacs 30 will be out soon because surprisingly enough, Emacs keeps getting new useful features from community members who are trying to contribute new functionality to the project. So, there's a lot of really cool stuff going in. A lot more tree sitter stuff. We got eglot built in. It's been in there for a while, but there's been improvements. I think Protocillus is adding more improvements to themes and things inside of Emacs. Lots of other stuff going on there. Improvements to the built-in completion systems, so we might be able to start taking more advantage of those. I'm already using Emacs 30, and I have been for a while. Let's see, Emacs version. Yes, this is Emacs 30. I don't know exactly which commit I'm on, but in Geeks, I've just been using it for a long time. Ashra says, I was about to ask about the Windows installer, but then saw Corwin's follow-up email. All right, Corwin says that the binaries are available, so if you're using Windows, clicky click. Okay, then Corwin says that there are binaries that you can try. So he points to the folder on the alpha.gnu.org site, so you can go download those there. If you have to use Windows, if you're one of the people who have been blessed with a day-to-day Windows existence. I'm being very diplomatic in the way that I say this. Also, the Emacs ports. Oh, interesting. So they're linking, Poe is linking directly to that SourceForge page that we saw before, I think. So if you want to go and grab the enhanced APK of the Android port for Emacs, then you can go and check that out here. Cool. So there's things available for that as well. Users of builds distributed by F-Droid must uninstall Emacs before upgrading, as must users upgrading to a Termux-enabled build from a regular one. Okay. I might try one of those at some point. Trev says, I know a guy who worked on PowerShell and he hates computers. Coincidence? I don't hate computers, Trev. I don't know where you're getting this from. There's too many weird memes being created about me, like I'm a fisherman and I hate computers. Doesn't really make any sense to me. Delaney says, when are we doing an interview? Why are you ducking me? I'm not ducking you. I actually haven't opened Discord again after I restarted my computer in a few days. So if you've been trying to get a hold of me, that's probably why, because I just never opened Discord. It's coming. I'm sorry for the delay. I've actually been working on a demo project with Datastar to put into a video, but I kind of got rat-holed into patterns that I'm trying to vet that I want to suggest to people. Basically, what I'm trying to do is make a really good case for why somebody would want to use Datastar and how they could make a single-page app or a multi-page app with kind of mostly the same code. So I didn't announce the interview that it was going to happen for sure. I think I probably couched my words because I know how things go with me. And I'm trying to finish what I'm doing. Datastar is never the issue. Makes you plagued with thoughts, though. Well, anytime I learn something new, I'm trying to figure out the right way to use it and also throw my own little thoughts into it. So, yeah. I got nerd sniped a little bit. Fade says, it's fine, David Will. I have ADHD, too. Yeah, that's my main issue here. So yes, we will be talking about Datastar soon. We're still using Datastar. I've been hacking on Datastar stuff all week long. So we will be talking to Delaney soon about Datastar. It'll be fun. All right. So yes, Emacs 30 is almost out. If you want to help Emacs get released faster, go give it a try and file issues if you see any. All right. So there's obviously Emacs news to go through. I think that we will do that later because there's just like an endless array of things to look at. So maybe we won't look at that quite yet. There are a couple things, though, that I did want to point out. There was a really good article by Lambda Island. I think that was Ashton Wiersdorf. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Usually how things go. What's new in Emacs last decade edition. So I think that Ashton is basically just sort of going through the things that he has learned about Emacs in the last decade up until Emacs 29. So there's some things here that we might take a look at and see if I've actually put into my own configuration because I keep forgetting about these. I know that AlternateVed told me about some of this stuff because I see notes up here at the top of my config that I never really integrated. Talking about completions format, max height, yeah, and auto select. So I don't know if I put those in. Let's see. Auto select. Does not look like it. So anyway, completion is pervasive in Emacs, blah, 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 blah. Enable recursive mini buffers. I believe that is to allow you to use mini buffer commands while in the mini buffer. Is there a reason not to do that? Like, should everybody just have that turned on all the time? TuxDoc says, why remap caps to control? I just switch them so that I don't remove the caps key and I make the new control behave as escape. Because I literally never use caps lock. I have no reason to use caps lock. Let's see. I don't remember who it was who said it in the chat. They gave a reasonable justification for using caps lock, but for me, I just don't need it. Why have it there at all? If I want to get angry and yell at somebody on the internet, I'm just going to use the shift key and type all the letters out myself. Doesn't really make a big difference. Fade says caps lock is a waste of space for the most part. Well, no, I don't think it's a waste of space. I think it's great to make it control instead, and then you can get away from all of the creeping RSI issues for your pinky. Ashraz says, what? So did you use shift key or caps lock to write that, Ashraz? Come on now. Let's be honest. All right, so the completion stuff. Super Stay Up says, caps lock is cruise control for cool. Yes, Ashraz use shift. Of course, because that's what you do. Peter says, caps lock is just to reserve space to map a control key. Exactly. It's a really big control key that's right on the home row, and it makes it a lot easier to press all the insane Emacs key chords. All right. Completion auto help always. These seem fine. Tab always indent complete. Emacs also supports completion for whatever the cursor is on. Emacs calls this completion a point. I use Control-Alt-I for this normally. Here's how to get the nice tab complete behavior in Emacs. Tab always indent complete. Tab always indent. What do I have that? I have it set to true. If true, hitting tab always just indents the current line. If complete, tab first tries to indent the current line. Then if the line was already indented, try to complete the thing at point. Maybe. I mean, sure. But I've gotten used to Control-Alt-I. I mean, this is all like me continually saying I've gotten used to the default Emacs key bindings to the point that I don't really need it to do things the way that you might be used to from other editors. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying. Completion styles, basic initials substring. Yeah, that's fine. I still need to set mine. So completion styles. Substring partial completion. I need to fix this because the way that I had this set up is a mess. Like the way that it completes for me, I get wrong stuff half the time. So I need to fix that, but maybe this is good enough. Let's see. Smart completion, jump to definition, etc. It's talking about eglot. We know about eglot. It's great. Project.el with project find file. I use project.el all the time. It's great. I like it. Tree Sitter, I have not really used. I haven't seen a need for it in my day-to-day existence. Maybe it's nice, though, if there are default bindings for structural navigation and editing and buffers that have Tree Sitter turned on. I just haven't looked into it, but it seems that Mickey Peterson of Mastering Emacs has an article about how to get started with it, so that might be a good place to look. It's definitely one of the bigger changes in Emacs in the last couple of years. So let me just go drop that in the notes real quick. Try Tree Sitter in Emacs. I should probably do a stream on that at some point just to sort of, work through it myself and see what kind of things I can use it for. But I haven't really done it yet. Tuxdoc says, have you seen Ultra Scroll? It's really awesome. No, I haven't seen it. So Emacs Ultra Scroll. We should put that on the list, though. Scroll Emacs like lightning. Smooth pixel scrolling for Emacs. Don't they have it built in, though? I mean, this doesn't really matter to me personally because I don't use a trackpad most of the time in Emacs. I would imagine that it would be meaningful to someone who is used to editors that do pixel precision scrolling whenever you use a trackpad, but since I don't really use a trackpad, I use a ThinkPad track point and the button for scrolling on that most of the time. Vladimir says, in Emacs 30, Thing at Point was integrated with TreeSitter. That actually is pretty interesting. All right. So sure, it looks good. I definitely see that it looks good. Not really for me, but if you care about that, then it could be great. It will probably be hell for Wayland, though, with the PGDK build, from what we've seen. M says, when you use caps lock for control, do you use your thumb for control X? No, I use my my pinky and X. My pinky on control and X. And it works just fine. In fact, I feel like it's way more comfortable than using the control key down on the bottom row. Morgan says it also fixes the image scrolling. That makes sense, though, because scrolling over images in Emacs is kind of ridiculous the way that it does it. So if it fixes that, that's pretty good. Gold AN says default control V scrolling is not fun. It's fine. It's fine. I've gotten used to it. You see how I keep saying I've gotten used to it. I'm not saying that it's great. I'm not saying that it's ideal. I'm just saying I've gotten used to it. And usually that's enough. You just get used to it and you keep moving. Savage Banana Soup says, sorry if this has already been asked, but what are the differences you found workflow quality of life between Evil and vanilla Emacs key bindings? I was never a heavy user of modal editing in Vim, which sounds crazy, but like I use the normal motions and stuff in normal mode in Vim or Evil mode. I was never an expert at it, so I never really had like all the cool sequences figured out for doing kind of the cool editing tricks in Vim. So I didn't lose anything really by switching to Emacs key bindings. Really, the main thing was getting used to using Control N, Control P, Control B, Control F for moving around, because they just seem like bonkers to me. That's the weirdest set of key bindings to use for moving around, just because they're so like spread out on the keyboard and they don't really correspond to like cardinal directions. But I got used to it. So that's all I can say is once I got used to it, you just forget about it and you move on with your life. Fade says Emacs binds work out of the box almost everywhere in Unix land. That is one reason to get used to Emacs binds, is because you can use them in normal terminals. So yeah, that's a good point. Sunset says people get used to programs other than Emacs anyway. Control V isn't that big of an issue. Yeah. Let's see. Savage says, the good old think nipple. Yeah, it's basically that. The track point, as they call it, because I tend to avoid using the that other word. I'm not going to call it the N word because it sounds weird. The other word on streams. So, what else we got in this article? We got sidetracked a little bit, which usually happens. There's a dictionary feature in Emacs 28, which I didn't know about, but I actually kind of wish I knew this because I always wanted to have a dictionary. So apparently, if you go check out the dictionary server variable, you can set it to a value like dict.org, and you can look up words from within Emacs, which would actually be quite helpful, I think. So setq dictionary server dict.org. Is that a string or yeah, it's a string. Then you can use dictionary, look up definition, no word at point. Okay, let's look at the definition for news. And it says, a report of recent occurrences. Evil news rides posts while good news baits. All right, thanks, Milton. Jeff says, completion sort set to historical looks interesting. Did I miss that? Was that in the article? Because that does sound useful, actually. Completions sort. Alphabetical. If it's historical, candidates are sorted by a mini buffer sort by history, which sorts first sorts alphabetically and then rearranges the order according to the order of the candidates in the mini buffer history. Weird thing is that at least for Meta X, it seems to be doing that by default. And I don't know why. Is that because of save hist mode? Let me close Faucet on here. Yeah, save hist mode. I think saved hist mode is doing that. Yeah, it's been doing that for a while, so I haven't really had a need for that. Steven says, pretty easy to remap scroll commands to pixel scroll interpolate ones. That's for sure. All right. So we saw the dictionary one. Fly spell mode, spell checking when you type. Nothing special about that. What is special is how easy it is to correct words. So fly spell mode. This probably is not going to work because I don't have iSpell installed. I really need to set that up though. I usually just spell well. You know, I spell pretty good. I don't really have to worry too much about that. But sometimes it would be nice. It would catch me when I say something or spell something incorrectly. So I should probably set that up. I just haven't done it yet. Leftbat says, ask it for Zettelkasten. No, let's not do that. All right, so visual line mode. Yeah, we know about that. New themes, modus operandi, modus vivendi, package.el, sure. Use package, yes. Native JSON parsing library, ecosystem. All right, so not too much. He also mentions at the bottom his Emacs Bedrock starter kit. I have not looked at this yet. We could look at it at some point, but it probably is pretty straightforward and simple, so I don't really see a big reason to do it. So sure, we could look at that at some point, maybe. What was next? There's also a new thing that was pointed out to me, or I guess to everyone who follows Andrew Tropin on Fediverse. Andrew posted today about this completion preview in Emacs. Apparently this has been around for a little while. I just didn't know it existed. But it was merged into Emacs, probably for Emacs 28 or 29, looks like. And it seems that it gives you the ability to get kind of that preview text for completions as you're typing in a buffer, which is kind of cool. So let's see if we can find out how to use this. To enable completion preview mode, use completion preview mode, the command. The most important job of this active minor mode is enable its associated key map, completion preview active mode map. Other than that, doesn't do much. Gives us a convenient way to bind some keys only when showing the completion preview. Crucially, whenever the preview is shown, tab inserts its contents. So where do the completion suggestions come from? Sure. So you just type and they just show up. Is that what happens? Brongulus says it's for Emacs 30. Really? Well, I'm sure I have it. Ashra says, isn't Emacs Bedrock the wild one that uses Kua mode by default? It could be. I don't know. All right, so let's go into our notes here. I'm just going to... Oh, not Scheme. I've been writing too much Scheme recently, apparently. So, completion preview mode 1. Let's turn it on. This is Emacs Lisp. Let's see. Find. Oh, so it is actually doing it. Find -F file tab. Wow. Okay. I mean, that's kind of nice. Default directory. Damn. All right. That's pretty good. It's built in. Look at that. Default directory. Expand. File name. Okay, so can we do it with the normal completion style? EXPF? No. Okay. Well, I mean, that's pretty decent. And all you have to do is just turn a mode on, apparently. What completion system? That's just straight up Emacs. And I'm using Fido Fido vertical mode, but I don't think it's affecting this. So let's see. Completion preview mode, comment hook mode, minimum symbol length. Let's see. Oh, and you can use, well, you could add bindings for meta N, meta P for cycling candidates, which would be kind of nice because that's a kind of a common binding. Meta I for completion preview insert. Let's see. Vladimir says, I'm using Kua mode plus default bindings plus meow edit. So, completion styles. Does it use completion styles? How does it find it? So I wonder if this works well in scheme buffers. So let's just delete that. I'm gonna go into the scheme buffer I had open before. I'm gonna run let's try to open up a different file like scripts sync archives. I'm gonna run Geyser here. Some of this isn't going to work, but that's okay. So I'll just eval this expression, and then I will start typing MA. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working here. Oh, is it buffer local? That's fine. So MAT, match, all right. So call with, check this out. Oh, I can't do meta NP, but let's see if we can set the binding for that really quick because that does seem useful. So use keymap set. Go back into here. Okay, and then back into the scheme buffer. Call with, and then yeah, meta N, meta P. Now I can sort of cycle through the preview, the different options, and then hit tab. So that's not bad, actually. I mean, I think that would actually be pretty useful. And it's built in. Let's check the library completion preview. It says 2023, 2024, and 29, 30. I'm trying to see if it says what version of Emacs it was added in. Man, this thing is so damn slow. All right, it doesn't say, but it could just be Emacs 30. It's pretty new. Morgan says, the issue I have with completion preview mode is that it only considers a prefix to avoid modifying text already in the buffer. The prefix match is case sensitive, so you cannot complete DAV to David. Oshrat says this is not in Emacs 29.4. Okay, good. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know how you can change the completion style that's used for it. Maybe it's kind of basic. And Pepsi says, I tried this. The preview is not the same as the first Corfu candidate. Does anyone have any idea? Probably because they're using a different approach for sourcing the recommendations. So that would explain why. But if you don't want to pull in an external package, this seems like a pretty good thing to use. Let me see if I can fix the configuration a little bit. So if I scroll down, yeah, probably we just want to do an add hook. Prog. Does it do completions on that? Yeah, a quoted symbol does not get completed correctly. However, a control meta I will do it. Interesting. Okay. And what else did it say? Text mode hook? Maybe? Why would you want it in text mode hook? I'd probably just leave it like that. All right. Shouldn't everything use completion at point functions? Maybe, yeah. Complete functions, yeah, it's probably buffer local. If I go back into the scheme file, oops. Guys are capped up for symbol. Yeah. Anyway. The doc says it's using the completion of point functions. Thank you. Okay, so back to the article. So that's pretty cool. I like that. It's good that it's built in. Probably Corfu is a better experience overall for these kinds of things. But like I said, if you want something built in that gives you some nice features, then that could be an option if it's what you want. I'll try it out for a while and see how it works for me because it seems kind of useful. All right, so now I think that was the other two links that I had. Let's go into Emacs News that Satya Chua so dutifully puts together every week. It's kind of an insane amount of work here. It's great that she does it, though, because it's a very good distillation of everything that's going on in the community. So we're going to take a look at a lot of the news that have been posted in the last few weeks. You know, whatever we have time for. I might need to stop the stream a little bit early today, but whatever we have time for, we'll take a look. We might try some new packages just as we go through, so we'll see. All right. So it seems like there have been a few new Emacs base configurations that people have been putting out recently. No real reason to look at these, I guess, but this is Gene, who you might have seen from around the community or on Fediverse. He has his own sort of base Emacs config that you can check out if you want to. I haven't really tried it yet, obviously, but it's there. If you want to give it a look. I think it is a fork. Yeah, it's a fork of Emacs Bedrock. So, LeftPad says, of course, she even has the same initials as our community, but she existed first, though. So I can't really say that there's any connection there. It's all a big conspiracy. Uriel has a blog post on eLisp abstraction. I wonder what that's about. Wait a second. Here we go. What's that about? Ah, okay. Just sort of programming stuff. LeftPad says, blink twice if someone in your room has forced you to say that. Yeah, we're not going back into that whole storyline. I confused too many people, I think. Let's see. Emacs fonts wider. I search forward thing at point. What's that about? I searching for some term like a function or variable, or learn that Emacs has a nice feature which helps with that. Pressing meta s meta period or meta s period invokes the I search forward thing at point command. That's kind of cool. So meta s period that you can kind of use Control S, yeah, Control S to go back and forward and back. Control S, Control R, go forward and back. It seems that's nice. So meta S period. So meta S is one of those prefix maps that I keep forgetting about, but more recently I have gotten more used to using it because I've been using meta SO a lot for getting all the references of a particular thing in the buffer. So for instance, args. You can get the listing of all the lines that have args in it. I've been using that for going into IRC chat buffers and finding all the places where my name was mentioned because it's pretty useful. I used to use consult line for that, but now I don't because I use occur for that, which is meta SO. That's just the plain built-in occur function inside of Emacs. It can be slow at times, but it works. Fade says, Sherry finally tracked down David Will. Yes, I've been assimilated now. I am now a Sherry bot. And I didn't want to tell you about it because I didn't want to blow the cover of the whole operation. But yes, I'm now an AI, in case you didn't know. So Meta S has some interesting bindings in it. And the iSearch for symbol at point seems to be one of them. The Meta S dot. There's also Meta S underscore, iSearch forward symbol. Meta S underscore. Okay. I guess that is looking at symbols in the buffer. Meta SO for occur, which we saw. Meta SW, I search forward word. Meta SW. Yeah, so. And what words are we talking about? Delete? Sure. I don't understand how that works. Let's see. Highlight symbol at point. That's got, excuse me, kind of cool. Meta S H dot. You can highlight every instance of a particular symbol in the buffer. And how do I quit that now? Meta SHQ? No. Highlight. Mode. Unhighlight. Okay, you can just sort of select it. Oh, okay, Meta SHU. Meta SHU. Meta SH dot. Meta SHU. Yeah, you just sort of clear the one by selecting it. That's cool. Meta SHP. Whoops. Phrase to highlight. Default args. Sure. Usage. Okay, so you can sort of select different ones. Is highlight symbol at point semantically aware? It might be using XREF. I'm not exactly sure. So highlight symbol at point. It could also just be thing at point. What is it using, I wonder? Wait, let's look at the actual code. Find tag default as symbol regular expression. What? Return regex that matches the default tag at point symbol. Who knows? That seems like some other sort of internal magic, which is not so good. It'd be nice if you could integrate that with eglot or something, but maybe there's a way to do that. I just don't know about it. Okay. So I should probably be dropping in links to things that we found. It highlighted display that was commented out, so probably not. Yeah, it definitely is not smart enough to know contextually whether it's the actual symbol or not. All right, an Emacs macro to transform DTOs. Oh boy. Okay, so wow, why have the the code examples have like a CRT-like display? I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of glowing like a CRT. I mean, it's cool, but sure. Can't really read it so well. I've got old eyes now. What can I do? Okay, so it's basically about setting up a macro. Fine. I need to look at macros a little bit, though. Emacs macros, keyboard macros. I haven't done it. Well, it's actually command macros, let's say. It's not really keyboard macro. So we're looking for features or packages, right? We're not going to look at every article in the world here. Literature notes package. Recurring checklists using org mode. Is there a package or something for this? Oh, okay. There's an org checklist feature inside of org contrib that has the ability to do recurring checklists. It seems. Yes. All right, fine. One little note about denote. Pertisilao says that he's splitting the main denote package into a variety of other packages because you didn't know, for a while denote has had extension packages sort of shipped alongside of the main denote package that are optional. You can turn them on if you want by requiring them, but it seems that Prot now wants to move those out into their own individual repositories so that they could be installed separately. I'm not really sure why, except for the fact that there are a growing number of these extension packages. Maybe he just doesn't want to carry all that around with the main denote package to keep it leaner. So making it seem more complex than it really is. He also held back by the minimalist outlook of the core. They cannot be developed to their logical end. Any dependency they incorporate becomes a dependency of the whole project. Okay, that I get. If a denote package wants to take a dependency on transient or some other package to provide better behavior, then the main denote package also has to depend on that, and it feels a little bit heavy. So that right there seems like a pretty key reason to break these into separate packages. Makes sense. I'm okay with that reasoning. So that's something that will happen at some point. Not sure if it's happening now. Maybe. But keep an eye out for that. If you use denote in some of the extension packages, you will probably have to, well, you will definitely have to go install those separately at some point soon. All right. Emacs major modes for Power BI. That's fun. I've never used Power BI before, but I guess if you have to use Power BI as part of your job, then there seems to now be an Emacs mode for interacting with the service. I don't exactly know what this is. Never really used Power BI before. Is SpaceMax the best Emacs distro? I think that's actually a video that's in Portuguese, so maybe it's not really something that we can talk about here or watch, because I don't speak Portuguese. I know some of you do, but I don't. Ashra says, I should tell that to our Power BI folks. Do you think you're going to get them to use Emacs? Probably not, but it'd be pretty cool if you did. All right. Someone asked me before, I missed it, and I'm sorry if they left the stream because I never answered the question. Let me scroll back. I did not mean to ignore the question. Who asked it? Christian asked, did you cover at some point integration usage of LLMs in Emacs? I did. Was it like 2 years ago? Was it last year? I can't remember. We talked about GPT-EL to talk to ChatGPT from within Emacs, and also maybe ChatGPT shell. Maybe. But we haven't really talked about AI integration in Emacs. Yeah, GPT.el by Carthing. That's right. I haven't talked too much about that because there's a lot of various different opinions about whether people should be using AI or not. So I generally just sidestep that whole issue by not getting into it. I don't use LLMs in Emacs, so I don't really have an opinion. I use ChatGPT occasionally to brainstorm ideas for things, but I don't really get it to write code for me. Thanks, Ashras, for linking the stream. All right. But in general, I think it's fine to use LLMs in Emacs. There's a lot of options these days for packages to pull things in. I just haven't really used any of the newer ones. Olama being one of them, I think. Or Llama. Llama is the one that pulls in Olama, which is pretty good for local large language model usage. All right. What else are we missing? Emacs development. Let's take a look at the patches. Completing read multiple CRM indication and prompt customization. Cool that Minad is making contributions to Emacs Core. Hello, Timothy. Timothy says, great channel. I don't use LLMs in Emacs either. I make them use Emacs. I see. CRM prompt for completing read multiple. It configures a prompt format of completing read multiple by default, except the separate, comma separated list. Okay. Oh, it's just docs. Is it not just docs? It appears that they mention a change to another file, but I don't see it here. I only see the news update. Oh, goodness. Chat window shop. Yes, I know. I haven't fixed it yet because I've been too busy doing other things. MHTML TS mode. Looks like we're getting tree sitter modes for... What is MHTML mode? Editing files containing HTML, JavaScript, and... Oh, multi-HTML mode. So for editing HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. That's kind of interesting. So basically, you get tree sitter functionality for embedded JavaScript and CSS inside of an HTML file. That's what I'm gleaning from this. I don't know if this is going to go in Emacs 30. It probably will go in 31. Oslo says, the answer is yes, you should use LLMs, but only if you use a keyboard instead of directly handling wires and magnets, and only if you use a search engine rather than reading the entire web. Yeah. All right. New functions, odd P and even P. All right, that seems like something that should have been there for a long time. Just predicate functions if a number is even or odd. Return non-nil if an integer is odd or even, respectively. The CLib functions are now aliases. Okay, weird that that wasn't built in for all this time. The 40 years of Emacs, they have not had odd P, even P. Not that I reach for that very often, but I mean, it seems like a kind of a common thing people need to do. Let's see. Image DRED, add extra keybinds for navigation. Bound unused letters in image DRED thumbnail mode map for a more comfortable navigation experience. So basically, single letter key presses for navigating around. That's cool. I don't really use image DRED, but that's cool. Fade says image DRED is ++ useful. Zorg says, how excited are you that Geeks moved into Codeberg? I'm very excited because I think it would make it easier for people to contribute to Geeks. It's always a good thing. The Emacs project should consider doing the same thing, I think. But that's a lot less likely to happen. All right. Warn for packages without a footer. Oh, don't warn for packages without a footer line. No longer warn if a package has no footer line. Package.el no longer warns for packages without a footer line, which is the line that usually appears at the end of an Emacs list file. Yeah, dude. Why was this ever a thing? Are we talking about the FlyMake warnings and errors that would show up for this? Because every time I would write an Emacs list file with FlyMake turned on, was it FlyMake or FlyCheck? One of those. I would always get complaints that I didn't have a comment at the end of the file that says file name ends here. Why the hell was that even necessary? Was it for like bundling a bunch of Emacs list files together in one file? I guess. Maybe there's some antiquated reason for it, but don't think it really matters so much anymore. So it's nice that they got rid of that because it was annoying for sure. Ashra says, I guess this is due to cat file handling. Probably, yeah. Trev says, Fade has a huge memes folder. Fade says, I have a pretty large folder full of large format background images. All the waifu images from Hyperland, I guess. All right. Fade says, each is so trivial. Yeah, it is trivial, but why should everybody have to keep rewriting the same modulo of 2 function all the time? All right, so that's cool. Oh, there's like a built-in Go workspace file tree sitter mode now in Emacs. Okay, fine. New command, project find matching file. New command, project find matching file can be used when switching between projects with similar file trees, such as work trees in the same repository. It supports being invoked standalone or from the project switch commands dispatch menu. Project find matching file. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So I think the point is, if you're in a file currently, you run project find matching file, and it shows you projects that have a file with the same subpath. That could be interesting. Cal says, I did not know about image DRED. Oh my god, looking up memes to post would be so easy now. Zorg says, did you try FlyMake show diagnostics at the end of line? No, I have not tried that. Okay. So that sounds pretty cool. I haven't really tried that yet, but I don't think I have that. So let's see. Whoops, not that. Project find. Whoa. Yeah, it's not in Emacs 30. It's only in the master, latest, Emacs 31. Radio. So let's look at new packages here. Query positions through hats. Hattie. I saw this when I was looking around earlier. I have no idea what this is about. Provides functionality for drawing and locating hats, small colored symbols used for indexing the text in the visible portion of the buffer in the current window. Does that mean like, yes, I know what you wrote, Cal. I just did not want to say it. Eric says, hey, that's my package. There we go. So, is this for like control character things? Oh, wow. What is that? Rendering hats over characters, allowing words to be indexed quickly from any point in the buffer. How? Building interfaces overcoming a core limitation of tools like Avi. That's cool. It's necessary to perform a command to make the interface for choosing a position visible. Means that performing an action cannot be done as one fluent operation. Always renders a small symbol over one of the characters in each word. Makes it possible to refer to the word immediately without the intermediate step of bringing up the interface. That sounds interesting. So it's an alternative to Avi. Emacs will wait for a key sequence referring to a hat. The sequence is terminated by space. Eric says, I use this for voice control of Emacs. Wow, that's kind of cool. It's good to know, actually. Cursorfree.el. Edit and navigate from anywhere in the buffer. Well suited for voice control of Emacs. That's kind of cool. I feel like this needs a video to explain what it does, or like an animated GIF or something. Just because I can't visualize what the behavior is going to look like. So it's always on. You always see the markers in the buffer. So basically the point is you know exactly which character or which symbol it is. So if you know what the key binding is for that symbol, you should be able to hit it immediately. To get the position of a hat, use Hattie locate. Return the position of the yellow bolt over character in. Dumping, copying, inserting a token. Oslo says, which code host renders org files the best? I haven't found that GitHub is okay. Git's better. SourceHub is bad at it. SourceHub doesn't do it. Forgeo / Codeberg is pretty good. But GitHub is probably the best. Anyway, I'm not going to spend much time on that. That seems interesting, though. I feel like it might warrant another look at some point just to understand better how it works. So let's just drop that in the show notes because it is interesting. Here's a package by Thanos Apollo. You know Thanos from the IRC. He's been around the community for a while. Orgnosis is, or Gnusis, as he says, is a Rome-inspired note-taking system for GNU Emacs. It appears to be his own implementation of an org Rome system. I haven't tried it, obviously, but it is something that you could give a shot to if you are interested. It has its own package for the user interface for showing the nodes and the connections between nodes. Has special functionality for journaling and customizable templates. So seems cool. May have to check that out at some point. I've been pretty happy with Helm, though. Haven't been using it a whole lot, but it's good. Okay, so there's a package X, which apparently is some extension functionality for the package.el package that's built into Emacs. This is stuff that was in package.el, but they're ripping it out now and making it a separate package that you can install because it isn't really needed built in. Radio, listen to internet radio. It's a new package for listening to internet radio using Emacs. Enables users to listen to internet radio stations. Main focus is in simplicity. Let's see. So you basically could set up MPV. Excuse me. And then set up an A-list of radio stations that you can play whenever you want to. Information about the current station can be shown in the mode line. That's cool. I don't really use a whole lot of internet radio stations, but this does seem like something that would make me more likely to try it if I knew of some cool internet radio stations to listen to. Some sort of pirate internet radio. Cal says Anon radio. I think that we see that talked about a fair amount on Fediverse. Is that the one that Screw Tape is on? Maybe we need a weird System Crafters radio station that is constantly broadcasting on the internet, and then we're going to end up getting into huge trouble for something someone says. Sideline Eagle-Eye. This is kind of interesting. I didn't know about this whole sideline package. So we're not going to look at the Sideline Eagle-Eye itself necessarily. We're going to look at Sideline, which is a package for showing useful information on the side of the buffer. So to take a look at what it looks like, you can see this screenshot here where there's like a LSP hints that are coming from the language server that show up on the right side of the window whenever you're in a buffer, so you can kind of see those being suggested. I think it also works for spell checking, in flight check in general. Excuse me. So it's another one of those things that, affects the Emacs UI a bit to give you some added behavior. Personally, it's not something I would install. I worry that it would kind of have some performance overhead inside of the buffer, but maybe it doesn't. Seems kind of cool though. Let's put the Ultra Scroll in the links too, since people brought it up. So I'm going to drop that into the links. All right, we got about maybe 10, 15 more minutes before we got to bounce out of here. So let's see what else we can see in the meantime. Code folding using TreeSit. Code folding based on TreeSit or syntax tree. Is this not something that's just sort of like built in? So you can fold your buffer. Why did they make it look like Visual Studio? Why in the hell are we using Visual Studio theme in Emacs with the little plus signs? I feel like I'm like 15 years ago using Visual Studio 2008. Oh boy. If you hadn't told me, I would tell you this is Visual Studio that I'm looking at right now, except for the lines on the side like that. Everything else looks like Visual Studio. So yes, it seems that there is a way to get folding inside of Emacs buffers using TreeSitter's knowledge of the actual syntax of the buffer. It says the answer is there's a current of users coming into Emacs from the Microsoft world. Yes, there would have to be, because pretty much everybody is in the Microsoft world at some point, right? Microsoft software is kind of pervasive. I saw that, Ashraz. I just did not want to even consider it. Ashraz says, you probably missed the R Emacs post about the Visual Studio Emacs configuration. No. Who wants to do that? I would not say that the aesthetics of Visual Studio, like actual Visual Studio, are, compelling enough that I want to see them in Emacs, unless you're really just trying to troll your coworkers or something. Or maybe you're trying to make your boss think that you're using Visual Studio whenever you're actually using Emacs, because otherwise they would yell at you. I guess I could see that. But this does look kind of interesting if you want to have kind of code folding in your buffers. Another thing that I've kind of gotten used to not having, so not a big motivator for me, especially because it requires putting in another package to Emacs, which I'm trying to avoid as much as possible. All right, next set of updates. This is from February 10th. Tool time, session 1. So is Tim the Toolman Taylor now making Emacs videos? That'll be pretty funny. Hopefully not following all the same things. Oh, 5 years ago. Okay, so that's not a new video. And Anders, who has been around for a while, says, one of the best instructions into Emacs I have watched. Well, I gotta watch this so I can see whether it's good or not. Just kidding. Oscar says, what do we need? More power buffers. No way. All right, hydrogen framework for Emacs. What could that be? Emacs easier to use for people who are used to text editors other than Emacs or VI. Gives you modern key bindings. Improves the behavior of tabs in Windows and a few other things. By modern, what do we mean? Do we mean kind of Stockholm Syndrome key bindings from, conventional applications? Basically cool mode? I don't know. Control J as meta X alias? Why? Because it's in the home row, maybe? Not certain about that. Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like I'm criticizing the desire to do this. People should do these kinds of things for sure. It's Emacs, for God's sake. But just I guess after I've spent so much time trying to get used to things in Emacs as they are, I see the value less and less in trying to make Emacs like other programs and just let Emacs be Emacs because it makes your life a lot easier. Yeah, this seems like an actual full Emacs configuration, not just like a framework. All right, let's see what else. Beginner's Guide to Extending Emacs. That's cool. That's not really what we will do today. Location-based themes. That's funny. Nano Emacs. There's a 1.5 hour advanced course on org mode. Who's this? It's Emacs Elements. So he has another channel now with his name? What's going on? Why does Emacs Elements keep disappearing and changing? He's got 80 subscribers. What is happening here? Did he do this so he's not tied to using Emacs? It's so weird. Does the channel still exist? No. That's weird, man. All right. There you go. If you want to watch that, you can watch it. LeftPad says, the channel should get renamed System Acceptance. And Trev says, sounds like this guy doesn't really like system crafting much. Just me. Is crafting Emacs crafting your system, or is crafting geeks crafting your system? I don't know. Fate says, I think he got in trouble with his flock for spending so much time with an artifact of material world. I can't imagine that would be the case. I mean, it's a funny joke, but I can't imagine that would actually be the case. That'd be pretty weird. All right, so coding Magit 4.3 released. Yep. So if you use Magit, there's a newer version out of that. Did I mention that on a stream recently? Probably not. But yeah, probably good to read that. I'm not going to read that right now, though, because I got to go soon. Using Emacs as a terminal multiplexer on Windows. Yikes. No, I don't think so. Like Windows Emacs build? No. I mean, sure, okay, but the experience is not very good in my opinion. Huh. Savage Banana Soup says he tried rationally talking about something political on the internet. Mistakes were made, and you wonder why I don't talk about anything political. Mainly because it's a minefield, for one. But also, like, why distract things talking about political stuff whenever we're just here to talk about computers, right? Fade says, is it known why Emacs on Windows is lethargic? Well, I mean, I think it's really only bad once you start dealing with the file system, especially like Git operations and stuff. But I'm not 100% certain about that. It does feel slower, that's for sure. All right, anyway. Jeff says it's probably Windows' fault more than Emacs' fault. It's Windows' fault, and also the MSys libraries that sort of port all of the stuff to Windows. Ashra says fork exec is slower, and Defender slows down file access in general. Yeah, Defender is a big pain. You definitely want to whitelist the Emacs installation folder itself, and also any other folders containing code that you're working with, because Windows Defender will just intercept every file system access to make sure that you're not opening any malicious files, which you could say that Emacs itself is quite the biggest malicious file. All right. Text editing approaches. Let's take a quick look at Emacs development. Widgets that a GUI toolkit should have for Emacs. What is that for? Morgan says, I blamed Windows Defender and was wrong. Well, definitely pre-release builds would be slower just because of the, like you said, the debug symbols and all the other stuff inserted in there. Anyway, what else? Refresh package list without blocking. Package refresh contents runs asynchronously. That's a nice new improvement, I would say. Eliminate save hist duplicated symbols. Hey, Zane. Zane says, oh yeah, Control H in. Is that for the news? Save hist now saves variables only once. Okay, fine. Inhibit auto revert macro. Huh. They kind of updated a lot of stuff in this buffer that is unrelated in this file. I'm not seeing the actual thing that got updated. Why do that? I hate it when people do that. New packages, Erlang TS, okay, fine. Major mode for editing Algol 68 code. Who's doing that these days? Is there some like resurgence of Algol developers? Maybe I'm not in the know with all that. Auth source XOAuth 2 plugin, authentication source plugin for XOAuth 2. Okay, so you need to use OAuth as an auth source. I could do that. That's cool. Robin says, finally, in Algol 68 mode. I hope it has configurable stropping styles. See, as always, Robin has to come in and make all of us feel dumber. Just because Robin seems to know too many things, I'm becoming a little bit concerned that Robin might be some kind of evil super genius, but at least they're using their power for good and trying to restart the Guile Emacs project. So please, Robin, don't hurt us, okay? I'm just joking around, okay? I'm just joking around. Will there be a COBOL mode in 2026? Yeah, if more Emacs developers have to go and write software for banks and SCADA systems, I don't know. Probably they're not written in COBOL, but definitely banks and software used for department stores, maybe, in the back end. Ashra says, so I guess it's due to the new GPL compiler implementation. Probably so, but I wouldn't know that. Ashra says Algol just got a new front end for GCC released. Okay, that's cool. Zay says, how often do people check the Emacs news to make a key cord for it? I guess they just want to make it easy. Hey, Daphne. All right, okay. All right. So I think that's all the time I've got. I think we saw some things, we went through a few lists of links and clicked them and opined on their value. Maybe that's good enough. Do you feel like you learned anything new about what's going on in the world of Emacs today? Daphne says, I think I actually have Algol 68 mode installed, although I used to use it to mess around with Racket's Algol 60 implementation. See, now we got another brainy person in here talking about things that I know nothing about. So thank you both to Daphne and Robin for making me feel dumb today. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. All right, so I'm going to put the stuff that we got here, all the links and stuff that we looked at, or at least the ones that I remembered to copy. I'll put them in the show notes. The link to the show notes in the description, and you'll be able to see those after I push those up in a moment. Yeah, so next week we will be back with the Crafter Hour streams again on Monday and Wednesday to continue on the emacspackages.com project being written in Guile Scheme, which has been a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll stop by and check that out. Probably some more Geeks work, and then some more general hacking on features for the project. And that's it. So thank you all for your time and attention, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Until next time, happy hacking. See ya.